conduct of any kind between a staff member and a student is strictly prohibited. The age of a student is irrelevant, even if the student is 18. Likewise, consent is irrelevant. A student's consent to participate in sexual conduct does not make it any more acceptable. A careful examination of numerous high-profile incidences of school staff members becoming sexually involved with students reveals that these violations between a staff member and student begin with smaller boundary violations. One after another, the repeated violations blur the boundary line. Inappropriate conversations lead to inappropriate touches, leading to sexual misconduct. It is for this reason that the Code of Conduct prohibits any sexual conduct, not just physical conduct of a sexual nature with students. Sexual conduct, even in jest, is clearly a boundary violation. This includes behaviors such as telling risque jokes or stories to or in the presence of of a student, making or adding to sexually inappropriate comments, sharing with or allowing a student to view any sexually explicit, pornographic, lewd, or otherwise inappropriate image, photograph, or communication, whether video, audio, print, text, or other format. Grooming behavior generally involves behaviors that in and of themselves may appear innocent. Grooming involves an adult engaging in increasingly invasive boundary violations with a student for the purpose of blurring the line between appropriate and inappropriate contact, ultimately leading to emotional abuse, physical abuse, or sexual misconduct with the student. Grooming may include many of the boundary violations just discussed. Physical contact that seems harmless or verbal comments designed to flatter the student become increasingly invasive so that over time, physical contact and inappropriate remarks begin to seem normal. By a steady series of small encroachments, a perpetuator progressively breaks down a child's normal personal boundaries to more easily take advantage of them emotionally, physically, or sexually. As a staff member, avoid activities which may be viewed as grooming behaviors. Some activities that may seem innocent from a staff member's perspective can be perceived as emotional flirtation or sexual insinuation from a student's or parent's point of view. Avoid situations that could prompt suspicion by parents, students, colleagues, or school leaders. Any behaviors which would qualify as sexual abuse or sexual battery are strictly prohibited. The criminal definition of sexual battery includes touching, whether or not through clothing, and regardless of the gender, a student's genital area, buttocks or female breasts, or otherwise taking indecent liberties. Likewise, encouraging or allowing a student to engage in these same behaviors towards you as a staff member is prohibited. There may even be times when the student is the one who initiates the inappropriate conduct. However, a student's consent or even initiation of sexual conduct does not make it acceptable. It is the responsibility of the staff member to stop the behavior, firmly tell the student the behavior is unacceptable, and do not do it again. Involve administration and parents to firmly establish appropriate boundaries. A staff member may not discriminate against a student based on the protected class. For the student population, protected class are defined by characteristics such as gender, race, religion, sexual orientation, gender identity, and disability. A staff member may not use or be under the influence of alcohol or illegal substances during work hours, on school property, or at a school activity. Use of tobacco on school property and at school activities is also prohibited. This includes the use of all tobacco products as well as e-cigarettes. Finally, every staff member has the responsibility to report. You must report suspicions of child abuse or neglect to DCFS or law enforcement as well as your supervisor or administrator. You must also report known violations of this code of conduct, known violations of boundary violations, inappropriate physical or sexual conduct, inappropriate communication, discriminatory conduct, and any issues related to controlled substances. You may gain knowledge of violations through personal observation, from conversations with students or colleagues or parents, or even from overhearing conversations of others. Following the reporting procedures established by your LEA. If you're unaware of the process, report to your supervisor or administrator. If your supervisor or administrator is involved in the violation, report to your LEA. At Lincoln Academy, that reporting process would be to report to the administration any concerns you may have. If the administration is involved in these concerns, then you would report directly to the board. They can be contacted at board@lincoln-academy.org. As part of this training, you will be asked to sign a verification that you have been provided training and understanding of this code of conduct. This will follow later in the module. Even a well-meaning staff member intent on doing good and caring for students often doesn't see the hazards and risk involved before it's too late. That is why it is critical to establish appropriate boundaries and maintain them. An adult providing support and direction during difficult times can help a student avoid academic failure and a variety of problems. All interactions between staff members and students must occur within the acceptable boundaries of the professional staff to student relationship.